Hi guys, today we're going to look at fractions, decimals and percentages. So let's have a look. So we're going to look at converting between both of them. So if we want to write fractions to a decimal, so if we want to convert fractions, so 7/8 into a decimal, this is what we do. So important thing to remember, and this I've told this many times, this line here just means divide. So 7/8 can be written as 7 divided by 8. And if you just put that in your calculator, you're going to get a decimal, so that'd be 0.875. So that's fractions to decimals. If you had some improper fractions there, then you're going to get some whole numbers there as well. So 1/2 is the same as 1 divided by 2, and that's just going to be 0.5. So very simple stuff. Fractions and decimals is just the top number divided by the bottom number. So looking at our next one, so we have decimals to percentages. So it gets a little bit more tricky here, but still pretty easy. So the first thing we're going to do is times by 100. So a percentage, all we're doing is timesing by 100. So 0.4 times by 100 equals 40%. And an easy way to remember this, and this is how I sort of remember it, is this percent sign sort of looks like 100. So if we rearrange this, there's your 1 and your 2 zeros, like it would be for 100. So we're just timesing our decimal by 100 to get our percent. So if we had 3/4 and we want to convert that into a percentage, the first thing we have to do is convert it to a decimal. So like what we did before, 3 divided by 4 will just give us 0.75, and then we need to times that by 100 for our percentage. So 0.75 times by 100 is just going to give you 75%. And that's how you convert decimals to percentages. Decimals to fractions. So if we got 0.2 and we want to make it into a fractional form, we just have to put it over some number. So we can write any number over 1. So we have 0.2 over 1. But what we want to do is not have a decimal on top. So here, to get that into a whole number, we can see that we're in one decimal place. So we're just going to times it by 10. So that's just going to move that decimal place over one spot, which is going to give us 2, and then we have whatever we do at the top, we have to do the bottom. So 1 times by 10, it's going to be 10. So that decimal is 2/10, which is the same as if we simplify it down to 1/5, and there's a video about simplifying. 0.15, so we're going to do the same, so we're going to put it over 1. Here we see that we need to move the decimal place 2 spots. So instead of timesing by 10, we're going to times by 100, because it needs to go 2 places. So we've got 0.15 times by 100, and we have 1 times by 100. So we've got 15 on top and 100 on the bottom. And we can simplify that as well, and it's going to go 3 divided by all the 3/20, sorry. And so that's our decimals to fractions. So it's all about this process here. Then percentages to fractions. So if we've got 50%, the first thing we're going to do is turn it into a fraction by putting it over 100. So we've got 50 over 100, and then we can simplify it down to 1/2. So remember that this sign's sort of like 100, so it's very easy. All we're doing is just putting it over 100. So we've got 3 over 100, which is, it could be 0.003, or that's our fraction form. And then we got 116%, which is just 1/16 over 100, and we can simplify that down as 29 over 25, and because it's an improper fraction, we can write it as 1 and 4 over 25, which you can go look at the video if you're still unsure. So percentage of fractions, very simple. You're just dividing by 100 or putting it over 100 to go backwards. So it'll be 50 over 100. We can simplify it down. If you have any questions, come see me. Thanks.